You're welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to find the derivative of the quadratic formula from the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now, very straightforward. Having the equation ax squared, ax squared plus what? Bx plus c equals 0. What is the first step we are going to do to solve this? Firstly, we have to be familiar with this. We have to know that we have our ABC. The A and B there represents the coefficients of both x squared and x, and C is the constant. A constant is simply a number without a letter in front of it or at the back of it. So we can pick any number to say 5 or to say 6 is a constant. And then A in this case is playing the role of a coefficient. A is the coefficient of x squared, while B is the coefficient of x, and C remains what? A constant. So having known that, what we want to achieve at the end of the day is to reduce x squared to the simplest power so that x can become the subject of the formula. So what do? Let us divide all through by a. That's the coefficient of x squared. We divide all through by the coefficient of x squared, so this is going to be over a, this will be over a, everything over a. So in this case, a is going to cancel out a here, so we are going to have x squared plus bx over a plus c over a equals 0 over a is going to give us 0. 0 over any number is going to be 0. So let us move on from here. The next thing we are going to do is let us move down to x. What is the coefficient of x? The coefficient of x here is what? B over a. So having known that, let us write out the coefficients of x. That is b over a. The next thing we are going to do is to divide this b over a. Let us divide it by what? By 2. Divided by 2. If you divide it by 2, this is going to give us what? B over a times 1 over 2. And the final answer is going to be b over, that is b times 1 gives us b, then a times 2 gives us what? 2a. We are not going to stop there. The next thing we are going to do is to what? Square our answer. So the first step we are going to do is what? We are to bring down the coefficient of x. We are to divide it by 2, which will take us down to this step, and then from there we are going to square the value, whatever that is our answer. So having gotten our final value, the next thing we are going to do is to add this value here. Let us add it to the both sides of the previous equation. So we are going to add it to the both sides of this equation here. So let's do that. So what are we going to do? That means we are going to have x. We're going to have x squared plus bx over a plus c over a equals what? 0. Now, before we add that to the both sides of the equation, let us move our c over. Okay, we can do that anyhow. So let us add this to the both sides of the equation. So we are going to have x squared plus bx over a, then plus c over a plus b over 2a, everything all squared, equals 0 plus b over 2a, everything all squared. No, now moving on from here, we don't need this any longer. We do not need this any longer. So let us pick this and this, having the square. Let us bring them together so it can look like this. X squared plus b over 2a. This is squared. Then we are going to move the c over a, that is this, to the right hand side. If you move it, that means we are going to have what? Minus c over a plus, we don't need a 0. If you had minus c over a plus 0, it will still give you minus c over a. So instead of the repetition, let us just move on. So we can have b over 2a, then everything what? Squared. All right, having this, what is the next thing we are going to do from this point? Since this has the same power, we are going to bring them together. Bringing them together, we are going to have x plus b over 2a, everything all squared, equals minus c over a plus b over 2a, everything here all squared. All right, we are getting closer to our answer. Moving on from here, we can simplify our right hand side here. We can simplify this so that we can now have this. That will be x plus b over 2a, everything all squared, equals minus c over a plus the square of b is b squared, and the square of 2a is going to be 4a squared. All right, from this point, there is something spectacular we can do from those very points. Looking at our right hand side, let's still continue with the right hand side. We can simplify this by finding the LCM of a and 4a squared. So if we do that on our left hand side, we are still going to have x plus b over what? 2a, everything all squared, equals what? Yes, let's take the LCM. The LCM of 4a squared and a is going to be 4a squared. So a in 4a squared is going to give us 4a. Yes, that is 4a. Then 4a times minus c is going to give us what? Minus 4ac. Then plus 4a squared and 4a squared will be 1. 1 times b squared is going to give us what? B squared. So what do we do next? I want us to arrange the right hand side properly so that we can have the form of what our final answer should look like. So in that bit, we are going to have x plus b over what? 2a all squared equals, so we can eventually swap this. We can swap this, our b square, we can move it down right here and move this right here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just do a swap. It's still the same thing provided the signs remains the same way it should be. All right, if that be the case, so what are we going to have? Let's move on. So we're going to have b squared minus 4ac over what? 4a squared. Okay, from here, we are going to do something. We'll say take square roots. Take square roots square roots of both sides. So if you take square roots of both sides, what are we going to have? That is going to be the square root of x plus b over what? 2a equals the square roots of b squared minus 4ac over what? 4a squared. So these two, the power of 2, we cancel out our square here, as you know. And then we're going to have what left? X plus b over what? 2a equals the square root of b squared minus 4ac isn't possible. Going by sword, you're going to just have the square root of b squared minus 4ac. So your numerator remains the same over the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of a squared is a. So we've been able to simplify our right hand side. So what do we do next? We are going to bring in this to the right hand side by what? Collecting like terms or moving it. So if we move it, we're going to have what? This is going to come right here, so that we can now have our equation to look like x equals, don't forget, b over 2a is carrying the addition sign here. Once it's moved to the other side, it's going to change to subtraction. So we have minus, we're going to have minus b over what? 2, that is minus b over 2a, then plus or minus, because of our square roots there, plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over what? 2a. So notice something from here. We have the same numerator for both here and as well here. So since we have the same numerator, to find the LCM of this, we can simply use what? 2a. So that we can have 2a into a, that is 1. 1 times minus b gives us minus b, then plus or minus 2a into a is also 1. 1 times the square root of b squared minus 4ac is still going to give us the same value, so that we can now have b squared minus 4ac. And finally, this is what we refer to as our quadratic equation. And you can also call that almighty formula in the popular way we know it, but that is the quadratic equation formula. Very simple. Divide all through by the coefficients of x squared. Then next, you are to divide the coefficient of x by 2 and square whatever answer you get. Add whatever answer you get. Finally, after squaring your coefficient of x, after the division, add it to the both sides of the equation. Remove bx over a from the equation totally. And then you are to move down c over a to the right hand side. After that, you are to take the LCM of your right hand side. You have to simplify it. Take the LCM of your right hand side. Merge what you need to merge to get on the left hand side of the equation. Moving on, you can simplify further, take square roots, and get your final answer. Thank you very much.